Many of us who are interested in technology and gadgets have long dreamed of living in a truly smart home. But, especially for users of Apple Home, the intelligent part has unfortunately lagged quite a bit behind. And I'm not talking about Siri, who is still as dumb as a doornail, but about the ability to connect all of one's smart home devices and have them perform various actions completely automatically. In Apple Home, while you can indeed create some automations, they are unfortunately quite limited in their functionality because you can't combine information from multiple devices and you only have a limited set of conditions you can set up, such as the time of day and whether or not someone is home. But there are systems that can in fact do much more than that. One of the systems that gives you far more options is Homey Pro, but until now it has required an investment of at least €399. And I've always thought that was a bit on the expensive side, because I'm not that much of a smart home nerd after all. But now they have launched the Homey Pro Mini, which is this little box that, more than anything, looks like a second-generation Apple TV. It costs only €249 and is even built to be connected to your network via Ethernet, which is something I definitely prefer, as it provides the most stable connection. And that's something that on the Homey Pro actually requires an adapter for an additional €29. I had hoped that the Homey Pro Mini would be a little cheaper, because in the US it actually costs exactly half of the Homey Pro, so I don't know why it doesn't do that in Europe as well, but nonetheless it is still a much more economical solution. In fact, Homey has also recently launched a pure software solution where you use your own hardware, your own computer, or build a small server, and then you either pay $4.99 a month or a one-time fee of €149. But I do quite like the idea of buying a ready-made package. So that's the one I'm taking a closer look at in this video. The setup of the Homey Pro Mini is very simple. You create a Homey account through the app on your phone, and then you just follow the instructions. First, you select the device you want to set up, and then the Homey app guides you through the entire process. It makes sure that your device is updated. And it then asks you to configure your home, so it knows how many floors and rooms you have. You can also tell it your address, so that just like Apple Home, it can create automations based on whether you are home or not, and so it knows what the weather is like where you live, because you can also use that in your automations. After that, you can add your smart home devices to your home. For me, it found both my Philips Hue and my Sonos system by itself, and to get access to my Philips Hue devices, Homey needs to have access to my Hue bridge. But again, the app guides me through the entire process and automatically finds all my different bulbs and light strips and plugs, which I can then add to the system with a single tap. After that, I get the option to set where the different devices are located in the house. And if I find out that there's a zone I forgot to create, well, I can also easily add it along the way. To add Sonos, all I have to do is log into my Sonos account and then again select where in my house the different speakers are located. Homey also has a number of different apps that support all sorts of manufacturers, but unfortunately, I can't find either my Aqara doorbell, my smart lock, or my Aqara G5 camera on the list in the Aqara app. However, all three devices also support the smart home standard matter, so I can add them via that instead. But unfortunately, there are some limitations when you do it that way. I'll get back to those in a moment. Regarding the apps you can install on your Homey Pro Mini, there are actually two different types. Official apps, which are supported by the company behind Homey, and then community apps, which are open source programs developed by people who use the Homey system themselves privately. I have a hardware box from Moros that supports Apple HomeKit that I use to control my garage door opener, but unfortunately I can't find it in the official app. Luckily, there's also a community app developed for Moros, and it's actually in there so I can easily add it to Homey that way. And that is the strength of the Homey system, because there are an incredible number of different apps for all sorts of devices and other services, so the system can integrate with far more than both Apple and Google Home. The Homey Pro Mini supports the three most used protocols when we talk about modern smart homes: Matter, Thread, and Zigbee. The big brother, Homey Pro, also supports Bluetooth, Z-Wave, as well as infrared connections and radio connections on the 433 MHz band. Those connections are typically used by slightly older products, or products that aren't really intended as a smart home device, but with the large Homey Pro, they can also be integrated into one smart home. The Homey Pro also has more RAM than the Homey Mini, so it can have more apps running at the same time. It's primarily aimed at the biggest smart home enthusiasts who want to be able to control as much as possible in their home. But for most of us, the Homey Pro Mini will be able to cover our needs without any problems. You can also buy a bridge for the Homey Pro Mini, by the way, if you want to support the other connection protocols. It costs €69, so you still save a little over €100 compared to the Homey Pro with an Ethernet dongle, but you don't get the extra RAM. I also mentioned earlier that there are some limitations when connecting via the Matter standard, and the most obvious one is when it comes to surveillance cameras. That's because video is not yet supported by Matter, so you can't get video from a Matter camera into Homey. It requires direct support for the camera, so my Aqara G5 isn't that useful in this context, and the same goes for my video doorbell. If I had an Aqara hub, it might be possible to get them into Homey that way, but I don't have one, so I don't know for sure. Fortunately, I am able to use some of the functionality in the two products when it comes to automations, and that's quite lucky because automations are really where Homey truly comes into its own. I mentioned at the beginning that, for example, Apple Home is actually quite limited when it comes to automations, but Homey is not. In fact, your imagination is pretty much the only limit. Homey offers two ways of creating automations, or flows, as they call them. Standard and advanced. A standard flow consists of a trigger, one or more conditions that must be met, and then one or more actions. For example, it could be something that happens every time I turn on my LG flat-screen TV, because yes, that's also supported in Homey via an official LG app. Here I've created a standard flow that registers when the TV is turned on, and if it's after sunset, it turns on a specific lamp. As you can see, I can also add more conditions that all have to be met, and I can also add more actions if I wish. For example, if I want several lamps to be turned on or off, or blinds to be rolled up or down, or whatever else you can possibly imagine. That's already far more than I can do with my Apple Home setup, because besides the fact that I can't use my TV for automations at all because it's not compatible with Apple Home, I also have far more conditions to choose from to control when the flow should run. But Homey's flows can get even more advanced. To create and edit the advanced flows, you can't use your phone. You need to use Homey's web interface because editing is not supported in the app on either mobile or tablet. I think it's fine that it doesn't work on mobile because it's not really suitable for a small screen, but I do think they could add it to the app when you use it on an iPad, for example. When you create an advanced flow, you start with a completely blank canvas, and you can then add a number of different functions. In addition to the three options from the standard flow, you can also, for example, insert timers, so you can delay parts of a flow. You can also insert logic that determines whether, for example, all conditions must be met before the flow continues, or if it should continue if just one of the conditions are met. And then you can create variables that you can reuse across flows and, for example, combine with logic that checks if a variable has changed its value. And it doesn't stop there, because the apps I mentioned earlier are not just for supporting different devices. They can also be programs that deliver data to Homey. For example, there's an app that can send the current electricity prices to a flow, so you can use the price of electricity to influence your automations. I haven't had the Homey Pro Mini for that long yet, so my flows are, I must admit, still quite simple. But for example, I've made a flow that keeps an eye on whether our front door is unlocked. And if it has been unlocked for more than 2 hours, the flow turns on the light in the hallway, waits 5 minutes, and then turns them off again. And at the same time, it sends me a push notification that the door is not locked. Very simple, yes, but I could, for example, expand it to do different things, depending on the time of day or who is at home. I just haven't gotten around to that yet. I also mentioned earlier that I can still use some of the functions from my Aqara Matter devices in Homey's flows. And I can do that by setting up so-called Matter signals via my Aqara app. It's a function where you create a rule in the Aqara app that will trigger the signal. For example, that my surveillance camera detects a person. And you can set that function to be active all the time or at specific times. You then give the signal a name, which becomes available on the Matter network. And that way, I can get a trigger in my Homey setup that is activated when the Aqara camera detects a person. And I can create the same type of triggers for example, the motion sensor in the camera and for my doorbell, so Homey can be notified when the doorbell rings or the battery is about to run out. So even though I haven't gotten the devices into Homey directly yet, I can still use parts of them in my flows. But as I said, my Homey flows aren't very advanced yet. But here are some examples of the type of advanced flows you can create if you spend a little more time in the Homey system. And if you know how to write code, Homey also has something called Homey Script, where you can code functions on the device yourself. However, that's a bit outside my area of expertise, I have to be honest. But there's no doubt that if you want to take your smart home system to the next level, then a box like the Homey Pro Mini is an obvious solution. It would be great if it cost half as much as the big Homey Pro, like in the US, but other than that, I don't really have much to criticize about it. It's super easy to set up, and the possibilities seem almost endless. It's also really great that it's connected to my network via Ethernet and that everything runs locally on the device. That means it reacts super fast and is very stable. My biggest problem is probably that I now want to invest in even more smart home devices so I can build even more advanced flows. And that's probably also my conclusion regarding the Homey Pro Mini. The more smart devices you have, the better an investment the box is. If you only have a few, it's probably a bit overkill, but I think it's super cool to finally have a solution where I feel I can program my smart home to automatically do whatever I can think of. By the way, you can easily run the Homey Pro Mini at the same time as Apple Home, where you primarily control your devices via Apple Home, but then run all automations via Homey. And the same goes, of course, if you use Google Home. However, I don't know Google Home well enough to say how much new functionality Homey adds when it comes to automations. So that's why in this video, I've compared it with Apple Home, which I use myself. And I should also mention Home Assistant, which is an open source project that does much of the same as Homey does. But that's even more nerdy because it's open source and not a commercial product like Homey. And even though I'm a tech nerd, I'm really not enough of one to bother building my own smart home controller. I'm more inclined to pay for a ready-made solution like the Homey Pro Mini, where everything just works right away. But if you're even more of a nerd than I am, you can also check out Home Assistant. Before that, though, I think you should watch another video from my channel. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I hope you feel like doing it now. It's completely free for you, but it actually means a great deal to me. You can also support my work directly by buying me a cup of coffee right there. And otherwise, I'll just say, see you soon.